Hey, y'all. My name is Bryant Young.
And Derek Chaney.
Here with the Decent Dads podcast. Welcome to our holiday episode.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We had a lot of fun filming this one. We did some goofy stuff. We
did. We added a little section there into to our show that
we ripped
that was
off.
A lot of fun.
Yeah,
you know?
we ripped off some of the social media draft, like fantasy draft type deals, and we ripped one of those off and made it Decent Dad style.
That's right. Absolutely. And we celebrated some holiday cheer.
Yeah, we did. Exchanged some gifts and did all that fun stuff too. So, but we've got a really good one for y'all.
We do.
Hope everybody enjoys. And without further ado,
let's do it.
Decent Dads podcast. Here we go. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Decent Dads podcast. We're here to tell jokes, drink coffee, and build a community of dads navigating fatherhood together. I'm Bryant Young, fearless leader, co-host, girl dad, and your friendly local insurance agent based out of Springfield, Missouri. And now, before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome, he's a 6'3" sophomore shooting guard from small town Missouri. He wishes he was a first-team All-American, but instead, he is the coolest co-host with the most, a fantastic father of two, and the home loan expert. Folks, put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Derek Chaney. How are you, Derek?
Man, doing great, Bryant. Doing great, It's a good day for a good day.
It is a good day.
Yeah, we got our hoppy coffee, and we're doing something a little bit different this
sure
episode,
we are.
Right?
It's tis the season.
That's right.
Tis the season for holiday cheer, baby.
A little holiday episode. No guest today.
No guests. Just the two of us yammering at you for an hour.
That's right. Having a little fun. But we always start out all of our episodes introducing our guests and what's their dad resume.
Exactly.
Right? And so it got me thinking.
Except we don't have a guest.
Exactly. It got me thinking. I was like, well, we don't have a dad guest this week, so what are we going to do for that, right? Well, I got to thinking. I was like, since this is our holiday episode, what would Santa's dad resume be like? Right?
I love it. Okay, yeah.
So I was like,
the crazy like grandma Santa or the pull my finger and I fart Santa?
I'd probably lean a little more towards the pull my finger and fart Santa. But I was like, you know what's he like?
Perfect. What do you got?
Well, I was like, he's probably 5'10", probably 260. He's pretty thick. With
Careful.
all the C's.
3 C's.
Yeah, but and he lives the life. He works one night a year. Feeling pretty good about that.
Sign me up.
He has the real MVP at home, Miss Claus,
Dang right.
holding down the fort.
Exactly.
But the funny thing about Santa is, at least from my Santa knowledge, with all the movies that I watched, he doesn't have any biological kids that I know of.
Yes, I think you're right. Unless you count the elves.
But he has a ton of adopted kids in the elves.
Now you're talking. Okay.
Right?
All right. I can get behind this idea.
Right? I mean, I don't know how many elves there are. 2,000 maybe
yeah,
plus.
There's gotta be tons.
So that's a crap ton of kids. So good for him for managing all that, right?
Think about the shoe budget.
Ooh.
All we do is spend money on my kids' shoes.
Well, but they make their own stuff, so.
Ooh, okay. All right. So you got the little wooden clogs or whatever.
So he's probably saving some money there. However...
this is the stupidest thing. I love it.
The issue with Santa is, he can never let the kids go, let them leave the house. They're stuck there. So I think that's some room for improvement for him.
They'll just never be empty nesters.
That's right. Never. But they just keep adding to the pile. So good for him.
I love it. Well, we're so glad that Pull My Finger Santa is here as our stand-in guest for the day. Let's talk about Tantrum of the Week.
Yeah.
You've been traveling, so I'm sure you've got some stuff that you've dealt with. Tell me about what you dealt with on your little trip.
Yeah. So, we did a quick little family vacation, ran down to Galveston.
Love it.
It was about 12, 13-hour drive.
We talked on a previous episode about the travel and the
Right.
driving. How did that go?
Honestly, really, really well.
Good.
Pleasantly surprised, both me and Allie. Really, the only hiccup was Liam got car sick a couple times on the way down there.
Yeah, you sent me a text about that.
And
does your car still smell?
Blue chunks. The first time, we weren't expecting it, so there's nothing we could do, and it just kind of got on Allie's car. The second time, we did have a bucket or a little thing that caught it all, so it wasn't too bad the second time around. But other than that, really good.
The popcorn bucket, puke bucket thing.
Good trip, but the crappy thing about it was it rained basically the whole trip, So luckily Galveston/Houston, there's a bunch of stuff to do inside.
Okay.
So we was like looking for stuff to do inside, and NASA's down there in Houston, right?
Cool. Why didn't you take me? I want to go see NASA. God, that's cool.
Right. Well, that was kind of our thought. Like, especially our oldest, Liam. He loves astronauts. He loves spaceships. He loves airplanes. We're like, oh, this is going to be great. He's going to love it. And so we get there to I think they call it the Space Station Center or whatever. And there's this massive line out the door, and it's raining, right?
Oh, damn it.
So we're like, oh, this is really how we're going to start this, right?
Yeah, great. Here we go.
And so luckily, Allie had the good idea. There was like an awning there where you enter, and she's like, I'll take the boys. We'll stand up there underneath the awning. You go stand out in the rain till you get up there.
Oh, such a really good idea Allie had there.
Honestly, it was a really good idea because I was worried about the kids getting cold, sick, wet, all
dad.
that. So stood in line. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. I might have stood in line for like 20 minutes. But anyways,
that's all right.
Liam hates it when I leave and he can see me leaving. So he's losing it the whole time while Allie's up there with him and Brody. Brody's just cold, so Brody's losing it.
Yeah.
And poor Allie's just stuck there by herself. However, luckily, I didn't see any of this and didn't know any of this till after it happened. And I get up there, and Liam's excited to see me. We get inside, and we're thinking, again, this kid loves all this stuff. This is going to be like a heyday for him, right?
Sure.
And we get inside, and he just starts losing it, and we don't even know why.
Buddy.
Don't even know why. So we're like, well, maybe
the return of the unexplained tantrum. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, well, maybe he's hungry. So we get him a little snack, and he's good while he's eating his little snack. He's good for about 5 minutes after, and then the dude just starts losing it. I mean, bad. And like nothing is making him happy. And you know how I'm sure we've all been there where you go somewhere and you see just a kid losing it, and you see their parents, they're just like, oh, this is terrible. And you just,
there's no solving it.
There's no solving it. And you're like, man, sucks to be that kid's parents, right?
Yeah. I hate that for you. I'm glad it's not me, but I hate that for you.
Well, we were those parents. And that was our kid.
Man, poor guy.
The whole time. And I mean, this was like, again, a really cool place that you could have probably spent 3, 4, 5 hours in. We spent 45 minutes there.
Oh, does NASA cost anything to get into? Is there there was
tour
fee or something?
You had to get tickets to get in. It is pretty inexpensive, but there was like so much cool stuff there. There was like a big airplane outside that had like the space shuttle on top of it that you could walk through. And we're like, that's cool. He'll love that, right? Awesome. We didn't even make it to that. There's like an exhibit where you can walk on the moon, where you can walk on Mars. There's a tram that goes out to the real NASA that you can go see like the real spaceships and stuff like that. Didn't make it on that either.
Do you think that I could just talk Liv into taking me to NASA?
Do it.
I want to go see all this cool stuff. That sounds awesome.
But honestly, other than that, the kiddos did awesome down there. There was no other tantrums in that. So I think he just built it all up for one day and just let it all out. And then he's like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good now.
I got my feels out. I got those negative feels out. Yeah. So you never got to the bottom of what the problem was. He was just having
as soon as we got back in the car, he was perfectly fine. And there's this really cute video of him and Allie just talking in the back seat and playing, and he was perfectly fine. But while we were inside NASA, he was not
having it.
But yeah, so that was my fiasco on vacay.
I get it.
What about your tantrum? Were you dealing with anything?
It's the holiday season, and so we were getting together with some family, and else, it's one of those deals where she has a pretty regimented routine, and so. Yeah. We kind of try to stick with daycare's routine where we eat breakfast at a certain time, we eat lunch at a certain time, and then nap is immediately after lunch.
Right.
And a lot of times, at least at daycare, it's like right around noon or just after. She has like 90-year-old lunchtime at 11:15 or whatever it is, 11:30. And
I still eat at that time.
Oh, I do too. We close the office from 11:30 to 12:30 for lunch. I do the same thing. So we do the early lunch, early nap time, but unfortunately, the night before we had our little blow up, she had peed through her little sleeping bag that have. It's like a little fleece, zip up the front, no sleeves sleeping bag, and it's just her little. It's her lovey. It's her little comfort thing, and so. She
keeps her warm when you have the windows open.
Well,
in 40-degree weather.
I have learned to close the windows. Don't look over there at that window that's open. It's hot down here. Smart ass. But yes, you're not wrong. had peed through it, and she had peed through both of them, and they were both in the washer,
no.
and so we couldn't put her in it.
Yeah.
And it was back to she isn't sleeping through the night days.
Oh, no.
I put her down, pat her on the back, leave. 15 minutes later, she's still screaming bloody murder. And it all had to do with the lack of the lovey thing, and because of the holiday and all of we had just gotten done eating lunch with the in-laws in our living room, and so she also knew that Bebby and Pop Pop were in the living room and had
wanting to play with them.
Interest in going to bed because Bebby and Pop Pop were in the house.
Yeah.
And that means no. That means we're not sleeping. That means I want to go hang out with Bebby and Pop Pop.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was one of those helpless, like going back to the Elsie doesn't sleep days where I was just so exasperated, like pulling my freaking hair out because my poor kid just could not get to sleep. But,
poor girl.
But we got the lovey back for her that night and slept through the whole night.
Yeah.
And
well, good.
Went down almost immediately. Now, you heard her upstairs earlier.
I did.
We're still fighting we're still fighting that a little bit, and so she's still fighting the daytime nap because her schedule's off because she's not in daycare.
Right.
And so it's
right.
It'll be fine. It's one of those little tendencies that just happens.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, unfortunately, we lost it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Lost it big
how used they get to their routines or, their whatever they sleep in, because we do the same thing with our little guys. They sleep in those sleep sacks, or at least Brody does now. And yeah, if they're not sleeping in those, I don't know, they're like not having it. And they're like, I'm not falling asleep. And Liam's the same way. If he doesn't have his blankie, the right blankie.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like,
the correct lovey blankie thing. Sure.
He's not falling asleep either. And so it's
well, and your
fun.
Kids, you and Allie both are pretty regimented on like schedule though, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I share that tendency with you, whereas Liv is a little more free-flowing, a little more like, what does Elsie feel like? We should do that. And so it's good and it's bad because Liv is super honed in on every emotion that Elsie has and is really good about picking up like what's going through her head, and like Liv has been really good about picking up what words she's saying, and she's been really good about that part of it, really feeling and being empathetic for Elsie. But she also gets a little bit away from the habits, a little bit away from the regimented, okay, at 7 o'clock we're going to start doing this. And so it's been a little bit of a struggle. Right.
Isn't it funny how much better our wives understand our children than we do?
Yep, absolutely. It's unreal.
It's kind of sad. That's like this week, I don't even know if I can really call it a dad hack because it was Allie's idea, but I'm like, that is such a good idea. I gotta share it.
Sure.
And so
no, you should take full credit for anything that she comes up with. You just take the credit for it and move on.
Yes. Well, like we just mentioned, we went on vacation, had a long car ride.
Yeah.
Right. And that was honestly our biggest worry, biggest fear the whole time was like, how are we going to keep these little dudes entertained? Because we drove through the day.
So you did go drive through the day.
Yeah,
that was going to be one of my questions because we talked about trying the night thing, but that just wasn't.
Yeah, we just decided not to do that. So we drove through the day, and Allie's like, "Well, here's what we'll do. We'll pack or buy a bunch of new toys, like just little toys, like a little car or something, something cheap they can play with. And we'll introduce one toy like every hour or so, or whenever they get tired of that one, right? And dude, that worked so good. Like every hour, we'd be like,
"That's
hey,
so sharp.
This
I love
is what
that.
we're doing." Give them a new toy, and they're just infatuated with this new toy because they've never seen it before. And I'm like, "Gosh, you are a mom genius."
Yeah.
/ stealing that for dad hack.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mom hack. Let's be honest.
Right.
They're the ones that have the feeling. But
yeah, I couldn't believe that. Like how well it worked. And we obviously brought the iPad too to watch some videos whenever they needed it.
How many episodes of the Decent Dads podcast did they listen to? Realistically,
that's so funny. So Liam might be our biggest fan of the Decent Dads podcast.
No kidding, really?
Yes, he sees our logo on my computer, on my phone. He's like, I watch Dad. So he wants to watch us, and he'll literally just sit there next to me and watch it.
Is he one of our 54 subscribers?
Oh, heck yeah, he is. Him and Brody both.
Oh, my gosh.
They're both fans. They're both fans.
Oh, that's so good. Well, I'm glad to know that. That's funny. I was just kind of joking, but that's hilarious that they're into it. That's good.
It cracks me up. And like, because I was doing some stuff this morning with social media and whatnot, and Liam saw our logo there, and he's like, I watch Dad. I watch Dad. I'm like, heck yeah, you can. So
put it on in the living room. Here you go, little buddy.
Right. But what about you? You got any good dad hacks?
Yeah. So I don't know where I heard it or where I read it or where I listened to it, or wherever. I saw this piece of advice that I really liked. Have a plan for what you're gonna do if your kid gets bullied, if your kid gets hit, if your kid or if your kid is the one who is hitting, or your kid is the one who gets, is being a bully. We were with some friends the other day, and, little kids are going to be little kids.
Right.
2, 3, 4-year-olds do not have any control over their emotions. And so
they don't know any better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I watched one of them rear back and pop another one in the face, which is kind of like an open hand slap.
Okay.
Not like one kid was overly emotional and upset and hit the other one because of it. And unfortunately, I was the only one that saw it happen, and so I kind of walked over to make sure that the one that got hit was okay, and he was, and his dad heard him yelling, and so he came over and swooped him right up, and it was fine. But it really drove home the idea that I'm glad that I have had this thought ahead of time,
right?
Because Papa Bear kicks in at that point.
Right.
Like if I hadn't have had a plan for something like that, and that had been Elsie, Papa Bear would have kicked in.
Right.
And Papa Bear would have been, punting a child across the room or something. I mean, not really, but maybe.
And nobody wins in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I'm glad that I had the forethought ahead of time. So have a thought, have a little bit of internal dialogue with yourself to know what you're going to do in the event that either your kid is doing the hitting or your kid is getting hit. And I think the most important thing is to make sure that you remove your kid from the situation and make sure they're okay.
Right. Definitely.
If they're the one that gets hit, then you swoop them up and you get them out of the situation and you make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
And really comfort your child and make sure they're all right. And then you go grab the other kid by the ear and walk him to his parents and say, here's what's going on. I think you might want to have a conversation.
Listen here, you
with
little
your kid.
turd.
Exactly. Listen here, you little shit. So, or vice versa, you grab your kid up by the scruff of their neck and get them out of that get them out of that situation. One, to keep it from happening again if they're the one hitting the other kid. And two, make sure that the other kid is okay, but then very quickly get your kid out of the way,
right? And
then have a conversation with him, have that disciplinary, have that corrective conversation where it's okay, obviously Elsie's 18 months old, so it's not really going to take at this point, but try to have that. We don't, the one thing that we always did with the dogs was that you don't hit the dogs, you're nice to the dogs. And so you demonstrate, we're going to pet the dogs, we're not going to hit the dogs.
Right.
And so I saw it outside looking in, saw somebody else's kid get popped, and in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, I'm glad that I had that thought with myself. I had that conversation to make sure that, because I 100% would have freaked out on a little kid.
Yeah. Me and Allie, we've actually been having that conversation quite a bit because, Liam's getting to the age where, we do go to the playground a lot and he makes friends and he plays. However, luckily with us, since Liam has the little brother Brody, we really put into Liam's mind, hey, you got to be soft with Brody. Brody's our friend. You can't be mean. You got to share. So I think Liam's getting that built in. So hopefully he doesn't bully anybody yet. But that's what we was talking about. We're like, well, what if he gets bullied, right?
What happens if that happens?
Yeah, because and I don't know, it's probably different with little girls and little boys, because little boys, at least in my mind, it's you don't want to baby them, right? But at the same time, too, it's if somebody is doing something they shouldn't be to them, then you want to, let them know, hey, this is not right.
Yep.
And you want to comfort your kid and make sure they're okay. So yeah, we've been talking about that a lot, and And hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully we don't have to deal with it. But
Sure.
I'm going to guess there's a 99% chance either he's going to be a bully or he's going to get bullied, right? I mean, it's part of it.
I think the moral of the story is have that internal dialogue or have that conversation with your spouse ahead of time so that you don't punt a small child.
So one of you
across the
don't
room.
lose your shit.
Yeah, because there's 1,000% chance that I will yell at a small child if they actually like hurt Elsie.
And it's funny because I think Allie, between the two of us, I think Allie would be the one that would be punting the little kid, which is so funny. It's not, but it is, right?
Well, but again, everybody's gonna have, and frankly, Liv would be the same way.
Yeah.
I after that happened, I told her about it and then said, "Hey, here's what I thought about. I'm glad that I had that thought." She's like, "Yeah, I've actually thought about that too." And it's like, "Good, okay, so we're on the same page."
Yeah,
nobody's kicking a kid.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I said, with me, like being with boys, I'm like, oh, you kind of want them to be tough because they're a boy. But Allie, she's like you and Elsie, and she's like, Mama Bear kicks in, and she's like, I'm gonna get this little kid. And I'm like, babe, they're 4 years old.
They are little kids.
You are 30 years old. That does not work.
It does not compute. That is not going to work.
You win that fight 0 out of 10 times. So
well, I mean, you're going to win the fight. Listen,
depends
I'm
how you look
win
at
the
it,
fight.
right?
All right, like, listen, there's going to be a winner and a loser, and it's going to be me. Now, am I going to get sent to jail after the fact? Probably.
Yes, definitely. Oh man!
Leading up to this episode, we talked about like what holiday traditions you guys are starting to do.
Yeah.
Specifically, the Chaney family traditions versus Allie's family's traditions, and then what you guys are doing together.
Right.
And that's obviously a struggle for a lot of people. I would assume it's a struggle for a lot of people throughout the holidays because it's, you want to try to make your mother happy and you want to try to make her mother happy, and the dads don't really give a damn.
Right.
So
whatever. It's just another day.
It's just another holiday. So talk to me about forming some of your traditions and how you guys came by them and what you decided, because Liv and I mean, Elsie's 18 months old. This is only our second Christmas. And so we're trying to figure out what we want to do, and I want to know what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Our little guys are little, so we haven't had a ton of traditions yet. However, as soon as Liam was born, we were like, Christmas Day is our day. We are staying home all day, and that's what we're doing.
I love that, because that's what good, because we decided the same thing.
Reason for that is because Allie's family is really big. Luckily, our families complement each other. Let me start with that. So Allie's family, though, they're very much like, we got to celebrate this holiday on the day that it happens.
Interesting. Okay.
And my family's like, hey, whenever everybody can get together, that's when we'll do it, right?
Good.
So the first couple years that me and Allie were together, pre-marriage, pre-kids, we went to 4 Christmases in a 24-hour period.
Oh, my gosh.
So
Christmas
Eve was at her grandparents', and then Allie has 3 siblings. And so Christmas Day, we had to go to each sibling and watch the grandkids open up these presents at their house.
They didn't do this at the same place?
No.
What are you talking about?
No, and it's fun. It cracks me up too. Me and Allie still laugh about this because the same people were at all 4 Christmases every single time.
Oh my God! And
it's like when it gets to be that much, like you're not even enjoying the day or the holiday.
No,
it's like you're stressing out. You're like,
I
got to. Luckily, all her family lives fairly close, so there wasn't a ton of travel.
Ugh.
But we're like, oh, now we got to get in the car and go to, Drew's or Amy's or, wherever we're going.
And I'm going to follow everybody that was driving from this place to the next place.
And so it's funny. So me and Allie, luckily, we were both on the same page, and we're like, we got to do Christmas is our day. If you guys want to come over to our house and celebrate with us, you're more than welcome to. But we are not leaving our house, and we're staying put.
Good for you. Good for you. Stand your ground. I love that.
And so luckily now we've kind of, morphed our overall family tradition into Christmas Eve is still at her grandparents, so we still celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Christmas Day, our day. Mm-hmm. And then typically we try to the day after Christmas, the 26th, go to my parents. Okay. And so it's all bunched into a 3-day period there. However, luckily all of our families live, within an hour of each other. So it's not a lot of travel time. So that works really, really well for us.
Plus, you're a banker, so you get all kinds of holidays like off around Christmas and everything around it. So there's no like needing to take off work.
No, because I mean every day that ends in Y I have off, so it works out well. But no, and then it's still funny because each family has their own like traditions. Like Allie, her family, they've been doing this tradition on Christmas Eve forever. I mean, since obviously before I was ever in the picture, and I don't know where it came from, and I don't think any of them know either. But they eat Reubens on Christmas Eve. That's
I'm
their
down.
thing.
I'm down. I love Reubens.
They cook Reubens and they eat them on Christmas Eve. And,
Heck yeah.
and so just
What a random ass thing,
right,
but I freaking love that.
It is so random, and it cracks me up. And yeah, I eat a Reuben every year, and it is delicious. but it's just funny. But
do they make their own Thousand Island, or does it come out of the bottle?
Honestly, I'd have to ask Grandma, but I think it comes out of the bottle.
Oh man,
I could be wrong on that.
Gigantic Reuben fan, so I'm all about that idea.
Yeah,
that's killer.
Let me dig into that a little bit more. Stay tuned.
Nice.
What about you guys? I mean, have you guys? I know Elsie's so young.
We're figuring that out. My family is very much like me and you, because go figure, I'm a product of my family, in that they plan everything to the nth degree.
Yeah.
And so, technically speaking, weeks in advance, my mother could tell you what day we're getting together, what food we're going to have, and how she's going to set the table. Like, that's just the way I was raised.
Yeah.
One of the things that brings my mother a lot of joy is setting a really pretty table.
Okay.
So it's all the decorations and all the right, like, china, but it's not china. It's like spade Christmas bowls and plates and stuff, and
the ones you use once a year.
Exactly. But my mother loves that stuff, and so
good for
she
her,
thinks about it for weeks on end ahead of the holiday. And she's planning entire menus. And now I will say, she has, not to say that she's like a crazy Nazi about it or anything, but it's not like you will do this the way I want to do it. She's not like that. She has been flexible, because both of her sons are not near as, I mean, we're both pretty planner alpha about it, but we're also very much not near to the level that our mother is.
Yeah.
And so she has kind of dialed that back as we have gotten later in our lives, because she recognizes that her kids don't really give a shit.
Right. So real quick on that, it just made me think of this. Do you think moms actually enjoy the Christmas day, or are they so stressed out about making sure everybody's having a good time, making sure, like you said, the table's set just right, making sure everybody loves their gifts?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, just personal experience with my mom, she's always so stressed out about cooking everything, making sure everything looks good, make sure everybody loves their presents. And then afterwards, she's super happy, and she can kind of relax a little bit. But it just made me think about that.
Well, it's funny because that's mom. She just wants to be the planner. The
people pleaser.
Exactly. Yep. She is. I mean, going all the way back to when we were kids, she was the den mother for all the Boy Scout stuff. She was just. She's the planner. She's the organizer.
Yeah.
The fact that she never went into business, the world lost one of its great business people. I firmly believe that she was a teacher and was a killer at it.
Yeah.
But I truly think that the world lost one of its great business people when my mom didn't go into business.
Yeah. And it's funny because Allie's not terrible about it just yet, but I can see her developing into that. Yeah. And so it's so funny.
But so that is funny though, because in the end of the day, you guys are both planners.
Right.
And so my mother has been very gracious as we have gotten older, and we also married people that have their own families. And so we're, my in-laws just moved to town within the last 6 months. And so previously we were going to Macon. We were driving 3.5 hours north, 4 hours north to get to Macon and spend time with the in-laws up there. But since my mother and father-in-law and father-in-law have moved to Springfield. And so, but they are way more flexible because they're new to town and they don't, it's not like they have a bunch of friends or anything that they're trying to plan around. So again, our families complement each other pretty well, where it's like, my parents are very regimented, and here's the day that we would like to do stuff if you would please be there. And then Don and Bev have been super generous and like, when do you guys want to get together? And that's when we get together. But Christmas Day, Liv and I have always kind of said that Christmas Day, even before we had kids, Christmas Day, specifically Christmas morning, is our time.
Yeah.
And we would like to continue that with Else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last year, Elsie was 6 months old, 7 months old when Christmas came around, so we didn't really know any better. But this year, we're excited to do the whole, spend time probably with my parents Christmas Eve, then do Christmas Day and Santa's gifts and all of that stuff that morning, which brings me to a whole nother conversation. And then Don and Bev will be after, and whether or not Liv's brother comes down or not, we'll see what the plan is there. But whether we go up there or they come down here. But I heard this thing that really struck home with me about gift giving and whose name is on the from line on your gifts to kids.
Yeah.
So, and I never really thought about it because my parents were always very good about, Santa gave us this really cool gift. But it was an interesting line that was introduced to me that, so you want to not make the nicest thing that you give your kids from Santa?
Yeah.
Because then when they go to school on Monday or, whenever they next go to school, Santa brought me a PlayStation 7 and a gigantic TV.
And then I'm the other kid that Santa brought me socks.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, but I had never really thought about that. And so that's something that I've been super conscious about. And Liv and I have decided that that's the way we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Is that the big gifts are going to come from mom and dad.
Yeah.
Or the other thing that Liv's family does that I love, they have Socko the elf. Socko the elf. Socko the elf brings.
And how did they come up with that name?
I don't know. I think it's because it's socks. Or no, it's Undy, not Undy. It's not Socko. It's Undy. Undy the elf. Undie, Undy the elf. But
that might be worse.
No, it is. It's not good. It's not good at all. But it's hilarious because Liv's family, none of the gifts are from their parents. They're always from like Undy the elf or Socko the elf.
That's funny.
Or Mrs. Claus or Rudolph. None of the gifts come from her parents, which to some extent flies in the face of what we're talking about, but I think we can kind of take that and twist it.
Right.
And like the cool, like the big stuff comes from mom and dad, and like inevitably, like, did your parents do, or did your mom do like the stocking stuffer underwear or like toothpaste or like any of that stuff?
Yeah.
Does she do that?
Yeah, she does.
So I think that's where Undy the elf and Socko the elf comes from, where it's like instead of doing stocking stuffers with that, it's just socks. And Don and Bev always get me the best socks. I'm a big no-show socks guy, and so
is it not funny the stuff you get excited for as an adult that you receive on Christmas versus when you were a kid?
I was so pissed to get socks as a kid, and now I love socks.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So like my mom, bless her heart, but me and Allie still get gifts from Santa, right? However, like you said, how you change on what you receive and how much you enjoy it. So, but now every year my mom sends us like a care package of like, it's like laundry detergent and dish soap and underwear and all this like random crap that you need for your house that you hate buying on your own. But you know what? Mom has this giant box, and that is what I look forward to every year now whenever we go to have Christmas with my parents.
I saw a meme the other day, and it was like, parents or kids in November, hey mom, I need more toothpaste, and mom, sorry, that's going to need to be in your stocking. Sorry, that no more toothpaste until December 25th. Sorry,
brush
I don't know
your
what
teeth
to tell
with
you.
water.
But what else did I say? So the nicest gifts coming from mom and dad and not Santa.
I like that. That
is something that I think
it's a very good idea.
Just because I don't want some little kid to be alienated and my kid have to be like, well, Santa brought me a really nice gift.
Right.
Why didn't you get one?
And again, back to, especially when they're little, they don't know any better.
Exactly.
And they'll just say that.
Yeah.
And, and that other poor other little kid is going to be like, yeah, well, why didn't I get that? Right.
And just, I mean, I'm a obnoxious person, but I also have a pretty soft heart for little kids. Figure. And so it's one of those deals where it's like, I don't want to make a little kid feel alienated.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any of like the decorating the tree together, stockings, or any of that kind of stuff together thing?
So it's
at
funny.
This point?
We're a household full of boys and me, and then there's Allie.
Yeah.
And so Allie is...
And no pets.
Is the...
Because you don't love your kids.
I do love my kids. I just don't love pets.
But can I get you guys a dog for Christmas?
Yeah, as long as you keep it at your house. But Allie loves Christmas. I mean, she loves it more than anything. And so used to, we'd be like, oh, okay, we can decorate for Christmas on December 1st. That was the deal, okay, before we ever had kids. Well, then we ended up moving that up to, okay, we can decorate on your birthday, which is November 15th, so midway through November. Well, then this year, it got pushed up to November 1st. And our boys, they're destructive, so they're zero help decorating. So right now it's all Allie. So like I went to work that day, come back, our house, Christmas threw up in our house, right? Yeah, 5 Christmas tree, probably more than that, and garland everywhere and all these decorations. It looks great. Don't get me wrong, it looks great, but I'm like, it's not even Thanksgiving yet, right? So how can we celebrate this? So there's not that. But one thing we did, or a couple things we started whenever Liam, because Liam was like 10 months old on his first Christmas. So so he was like a good size for his first Christmas. And we started, we'd wrap 25 books. And we'd wrap them, and he'd get to open one book a night. And we'd read that book that night.
I love it.
And then we also starting December 1st, we watched one Christmas movie that night all the way up until Christmas.
That's fun.
And so that's just kind of little stuff, that we started doing. However, the best probably story with that is Christmas tradition fails.
Christmas tradition fails. Okay.
Yeah. So when Allie was pregnant with Liam, she was probably like 6 months pregnant with Liam, maybe 7 months at the time. So she's pretty prego at the time. And so obviously she's having these cravings, right? Christmas Eve rolls around, and she's like, she didn't tell me, but she was craving Chinese food. And she's like, let's make it a tradition that we eat Chinese food on Christmas Eve, right?
So Reuben's and then Chinese.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, So we go out, we drive all around Springfield to like 5 different Chinese places.
Yeah.
None of them are open on Christmas Eve for dinner.
Interesting. Isn't that like a stereotype?
I don't know. Like, I mean,
interesting.
I kind of, we were, I guess it was because we thought they'd be open.
Yeah.
And we pull up, to Triple H's, to Hong Kong Inn, to all these different places. None of them are open.
We love it.
And obviously being hormonal and pregnant and having these cravings, she was pissed.
Yeah. It was. Listen, we got to get Chinese food right now, mother trucker.
I don't even remember what we ended up having for dinner that night. It wasn't Chinese. I can tell you that much. But that tradition did not make it to the next year.
Do you think like now that there's that Hy-Vee on East Sunshine, would they be open for maybe you could get some Chinese from there if you really get stuck? Because they've got the walk-up counter.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know. It's worth a shot, but
I'm just trying to absorb all of this because I don't have any good answers at this point. Like we don't have anything solid, and so I'm looking for good ideas to steal.
Yeah,
so
and
I like to hear that.
Yeah, and I think as the kids get older, it's easier to develop traditions as well too, because you learn, what they enjoy, what they like, what they don't, and so it's a little bit easier to make those traditions, And speaking of the traditions, the tradition of Christmas is everybody gets presents.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sure you guys have a list of what
one of them just got delivered this morning.
What Elsie, or at least what you think she wants or what she wants. I know we have the same way with Liam and Brody. Grandparents, family members are asking us, what do we get them? And we obviously have this list of all the stuff that we want them to receive or we think they would at least enjoy. But I think one thing people don't really talk about too much is what are presents that you do not want your kid to receive.
Yeah, I got a long list.
And why don't you want them to receive, X gift or whatever it is?
Do you want to go back and forth or do you want to go full list to full list?
Let's go back and forth.
Well, top of my list is an animal.
Wow, and you just said you want to give me a puppy.
No, I want to give it to you, not receive it at my house.
Fair.
When I was a kid, one of my
I didn't even think of that, but that is such a good point. Because we've been getting asked that question a lot, like, when are the boys going to get a dog?
Sure.
Never.
Because I don't want to.
Are you going to take care of them, Judy?
I don't want to clean up their shit in the backyard.
Right.
I believe my parents did such a good job keeping it from me, but I'm relatively sure that my only aunt, got me or Drew a dog when we were little kids for Christmas, and my dad was furious because he had no interest in taking care of a dog.
Did he know that you were getting a dog?
No, I think it was a surprise. I think it was a surprise for everybody. And so I'm pretty sure my Aunt Di brought a dog to gave it to us.
Surprise!
And so that dog ended up at one of my dad's friends' houses or something like that. But I think top of my list is a dog because I only have one kid, and so I understand that it pales in comparison to those with more. But you know what I need less of in my life is responsibility.
All right.
I've already got 2 dogs running around in the backyard and a kid upstairs. I need another animal like I need a hole in my head.
Yeah.
So top of my list is an animal.
I wish I would have thought of that because that's a great one. But now whenever people ask me, when are you going to get a dog for Liam and Brody? I'm like, when they're old enough to take care of it. I am not taking on that responsibility.
When they can start mowing so they can walk through the dog shit themselves, because I don't want to deal with that.
Yes, watch out for those dog bombs.
Exactly.
Gosh. So mine is, and the dog one, that was so good. But mine is those toys that do not have an on and off switch. Yeah. Whatever psychopath
monster
invented those, like, you can go to hell, because those things are little mini demons. Like, because Liam and Brody, they have some of those. First off, yeah, you can't turn them off, and sure enough, that's their favorite toy, right?
Of course, go figure.
So they're playing with that nonstop, and it just does not shut up. And we, all parents have been there when you're like, okay, I've had enough of this dang toy.
But you can't turn it off. Say, the battery's done.
Throw it through the window, right? You can't turn it off. Yeah, because we've all done that. We're like, oh yeah, it just quit working.
Know what happened? It stopped working.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah.
That, and they're creepy because you and your wife.
Give me an example of a. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you put the kids down, you're watching a movie at night, and then these random little toys start going off in the background.
Nope.
And you're like,
I don't like scary stuff. Not into
what?
it.
Why?
No, thank you.
Yeah, why are you telling me that N stands for nail? Or, all this random crap. Liam has a puzzle, an ABC puzzle.
Yeah.
That, each letter has its own thing. Does not have an on-off switch.
Nail.
And it's back, and it sits right behind the couch in this little cubby, and it's like, N stands for nail, and Q stands for quail. And me and Allie are like, is somebody back there doing ABCs, or we're trying to watch? I'm like, this is creepy. So definitely don't bring us any toys that don't have an on and off switch.
Oh, so I mean, mine is just noisy toys.
Yeah.
Again, going back to my childhood, I think my aunt really liked to screw with my dad because my dad is just like me. And so people want to screw with him just because he also likes to screw with people.
Sure.
And so my aunt and uncle gave me it was like a battery operated fire truck.
Okay.
But that had a little remote control that when we were kids, there was not wireless remote controls readily available. It was more like you had to walk behind it, and it had a wired control.
Yeah.
But
I had those,
it was really, really loud. My mother made us keep it in the basement. It was not allowed to come out of the basement.
Yes.
But it was a fire truck that had the full-blown sirens, and the ladder came up, and it was loud as hell. And so any kind of toy that is noisy.
Yes.
I'm also thinking about, and Liv bought this, so it's her own fault. But Elsie likes to follow Liv around while we're vacuuming. Follow us around while we're vacuuming with any toy she can to try to push it around.
Yeah.
And we got her a mower first, a little mower, because we thought it was funny. So I'll be out in the front yard mowing, and Elsie will come out and mow the driveway.
It's cute. Yep.
We bought her a vacuum because while we're vacuuming, she likes to do that.
Very stereotypical of you.
No,
very sexist.
Whatever. I mean, I can be doing the vacuuming, and she'll follow me around too.
Okay.
But we bought this Dyson vacuum thing because, of course.
Wow, you're super bougie.
Yeah, exactly. Bougie as hell, right?
Let me get the Dyson.
Country club boy. I get it. Yeah.
City boy.
But so, fucker. But it has an actual suction function on it. And then just like a small motor that makes noise.
Okay.
And so the small motor that makes noise, Elsie has learned how to turn it on.
Nice.
She'll walk over to it, turn it on, and then walk away. And so she just leaves it running. And it's just, I'm cooking dinner, or Liv is working on her computer in the other room, and then there's just the vacuum going in the other room. So noisy toys are out in my house.
That made me think of our friends Jess and Ryan and their little boy. He got I think a drum set for his.
Oh, he did. Yes, he did.
Birthday.
Yes, he did get a drum set.
And
somebody bought us a drum set too.
And they were telling me about that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would hate that as a parent, because I know like my kids, they'd be beating the crap out of that thing.
Drum set is like that stereotypical joke that like, I'll buy your kid a drum set. But no,
they,
be nice to me.
They bought their own kid.
But they did it to themselves. Because Ryan's pretty musical. He plays piano and stuff, and so that makes sense.
Yeah, but don't get my kid that.
What else is on your list? I'm trying to go through mine.
With mine, probably the other one that I have is the 1,000-piece Lego set.
Yeah.
At this age,
at this
not
point in their lives, sure,
give my
I can get behind
kids
that.
because I don't know if it's for Liam's birthday or if it's just randomly. We had somebody gift him. It was like a 200-piece Lego set.
Oh boy,
That is a race car. You built a race car.
Sweet.
Right? Yeah.
Does he like Legos?
Super. He loves Legos. Loves Legos. But no 2.5-year-old is going to have the attention span to build
not 200
this thing, right?
No.
And so they're just going to leave the pieces on the floor. So you're going to step on them, and then you're going to cuss at them later, and get really mad at your kid.
Cuss at the Legos, not the kid.
Right.
Cuss at the Legos.
Right. And whoever the hell gifted it to him,
exactly.
going to get mad at him for that. But then too, like I said, he doesn't have the attention span, so he's going to be there for about 10 pieces. And then the other 190, Dad's going to have to go build this thing. And then Dad's going to get pissed off because these pieces aren't fitting right, how it shows in the dang instructions.
Oh.
And
were you a Lego kid?
Oh, dude, loved Legos.
Okay.
Loved Legos.
I'm glad to hear that because if Liam ever wants to come play Legos, Uncle Bryant has 2 40-gallon tubs full of Legos from his childhood sitting in the other room over there.
Nice.
Because I was obsessed.
Yeah, that's how I was. And, I tell that story, but it's funny because my mom asked me, like, hey, what do the boys want for Christmas? And I was like, a Lego table would be super
I had
cool.
one. It was my favorite thing in the whole world.
Because then you can kind of control the mess, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, any kid under 5, don't get them anything more than like a 20-piece Lego thing.
Big, giant
That's the
Lego
thing.
set.
Like they make Lego sets now that are like 10 or 20 pieces,
Yep.
and so
I've
like
seen
you
them.
can snap them together in like 2 minutes, and that Liam can stay
That's
engaged.
enough. That's enough
that
for the
one.
little ones.
But
Sure.
200 pieces, 1,000 pieces, don't do that to me.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Well, and that's, again, that is like a dad rite of passage, stepping on the Legos.
Oh, right.
Like
in the middle of the
dark,
night.
in the
Yeah.
basement. Yeah, exactly. That's like a rite of passage. I think my last thing is messy stuff, specifically because I'm a little bit of a like control freak, neat freak.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less if my like counters and floors are antimicrobial scrubbed down to within an nth degree.
Right.
I don't care about that, but I'd like everything to be put away.
Mm-hmm.
And so similar to your description of like the 1,000-piece Legos, I don't want Play-Doh. I don't want water tables because
How about a sand table?
Sand table sounds worse. That sounds like my personal nightmare.
Right.
Like Elsie has found on one of those little pallet like website Facebook groups a little working sink. It's got a mirror on it and a little sink with a water reservoir in it, and it's got a little toothbrush thing and a shaver.
Nope.
And so
nope.
It's in our house, and I finally had to
my
drain
God.
the water out of it because I was like, babe, I love you so much, and Elsie, you are my favorite.
But you're gonna have to pretend.
But you're gonna have to pretend because there's just water frickin' everywhere, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like I can't deal with the mess. Like it's just my brain.
That's an
just
outside toy.
Shuts off. Exactly. And we've got a water table out on the back porch.
Okay.
But like that,
Okay. Yeah.
my brain just turns off. It's like I can't function anymore. I'm
Oh,
done.
That's funny.
Did you have anything else on your list?
No, but I don't. But it made me think. So we just built like this outdoor play set for the
Yeah,
boys,
yeah.
right? And there's a little section underneath it, a little square that it's like this is the sand pit in here, where you surround it with like the rubber nuggets or the mulch, whatever. And me and Al are like, that's getting filled with mulch. Like there is no sand going to be in here. Like, are you just asking to be tortured? Like, heck no.
I love that. And it is kind of funny though, because unfortunately we are now advertising to our friends and family what to get our kids.
Oh, that's true.
I just had that thought.
No.
Because now our friends like
Grandma, Grandpa, don't listen to this episode.
I have threatened so many friends with drum sets for their children,
Oh.
and now we have just advertised everything we are going to get.
Ooh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
This
If my
was your,
kids
this,
receive,
this topic was your idea, so
if
I'm
my
blaming you
kids
for this.
receive any of these gifts, like you're about
Listen,
to get a reckoning.
There's
okay?
going to be hell to pay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw this thing on social media that I thought was really fun, and I thought we could do it here at the Decent Dads podcast. You've seen some of these like drafts where people are going back and forth saying their top 5 favorite X things.
Yeah. My favorite chips.
Exactly. My favorite chips or my favorite snack, top tier fast foods, whatever
that's a
it
good one,
is.
yeah.
We should do that one. Doesn't really apply to dads. Maybe we should just do that off the air.
Yeah.
But thinking about dad stuff, I was trying to think like, how could we frame this? And then I was thinking, well, I'm a movie buff. I'm a TV buff.
Yeah.
Like, what about fictional dads? What about like books, movies, TV? So I would like to welcome everyone to the 2020 Fictional Dad
2022
Draft.
Brian.
What did I say?
You said 2020. 2022.
Did I say 2020?
Yeah.
Good Lord. I'm only 2 years behind, almost 3.
We are post-COVID.
Excuse me. The 2022 Fictional Dad Draft.
Ooh.
Movies, TV, books, whatever you got. Let's start round 1. DC, what is it? What is your
this
top
will
draft?
be posted on ESPN too,
Exactly.
just so you guys know.
Top
funny
draft.
that you should ask, Brian, because I brought my list here. Coming in at number 1 for Team Chaney.
He's got it written down. I love
Fictional Dad Draft number 1, position number 1, round 1.
Round 1.
Hank Hill.
That's fine. You can have Hank
you know
Hill.
why? You know why?
Give me why.
Well, because I sell propane and propane accessories. And this guy is just the iconic dad because I remember watching one episode when I was little. He's working on a door. The door's not working. Pops out the WD-40 can. He can't get the WD-40 can open, so he pops out a mini WD-40 can, sprays the big WD-40 can to get it open. And I was like, if that is not the epitome of a dad, I don't know what is. So that's easy number 1 for me.
Oh, well, I think that you're wrong because the obvious number 1 draft pick is Bandit from Bluey. The greatest dad there ever did were.
Mr. Healer's pretty solid.
Mr. Healer, Bandit Healer. He plays imaginary games with his kids all the time.
Has the sickest accent.
Has the coolest Australian accent. And inexplicably has like the nicest house. Isn't he like a mail carrier and she works for the government or something? Like they don't have big crazy jobs, but they've got a badass house. So obviously he's either also selling drugs on the side or something like that.
Got to make ends meet. I get
exactly.
it.
He's got like a little bit of a background to him. It's obviously Bandit.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's pretty solid. I am a big Bandit fan.
Yeah,
so I can't argue with that.
Mr. Healer.
I mean,
round 2. What you
coming
think?
in at the 3rd pick for the 2022 Fictional Dad Draft
That's so stupid.
is
2020.
the Clark Griswold.
Oh shit!
Yes,
I got to mark that one off my list. I'm trying to draw on my phone
right.
there.
Yeah, that does not work that way.
I got to mark Clark off my phone. He was on that list. Yeah,
this dude tries to make every holiday, every family vacation like top notch. He
just wants something nice for his kids.
He does. He has jerks for in-laws. He has the jerk uncle.
Shitter's full.
Uncle Eddie. And he's just the positive guy. Just tries to make it, he does the best with what he has, And
Full
good for him.
disclosure, I had a conversation about this with my family yesterday.
Yeah.
Just trying to see if anybody had any ideas. And everybody's like, are you sure Clark Griswold is a good dad? And I'm like, I don't care if he like cusses and is unhappy with his job. He's trying to make the holidays nice.
First
Give him
of
a
all,
break.
Any dad that puts that many lights on a house, like truly
obviously gives a damn.
Loves their family.
Exactly. Obviously gives a damn. My next pick is probably controversial. From a is he a good dad in like the granola good dad kind of way? But my next pick is Ron Swanson. Ronald Ulysses Swanson. He's going to teach his kid how to use every power tool under the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, early
how to build a campfire in the rainforest.
Exactly. Yeah. That little kid was early in his life learning how to use a belt sander while Ron was refinishing those floors in the city council offices or wherever he was. That little boy or little girl. Was it a little girl? I think it was a little boy.
I don't know.
I think it was a little boy. Ron is going to teach that kid how to hunt, how to fish, how to have the one of the 3 proper haircuts where you only get to have a crew cut or a buzz cut or another buzz cut, which I'm pretty sure is in the Swanson Pyramid of Excellence.
Oh, yeah. And I love that he's like the dad of like the, I don't know, I guess like 60s or 70s at like no emotion.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like,
plus he's got killer facial hair.
He does.
That's my number 2 pick.
Okay. Well, my number 3 pick, this is a solid one, is Marlin from Nemo.
You son of a bitch.
Yes!
God, I'm gonna run out of freaking names on this list. God,
like,
you
this
suck.
guy crossed an entire
That's
ocean.
literally my next one. You suck.
Fighting off sharks, fighting off jellyfish,
Dang it.
seagulls, just to find his son Nemo.
Yeah.
And he did. Mission accomplished.
You know what? I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. So I'm gonna have to. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You just took mine right off the top.
Should I start from the bottom of my list?
Yeah, you really should work your way up. Yeah, exactly. Next on my list, because I'm having to bump down a spot here, is Ned Stark from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Ned Stark, Eddard Stark, raised all of those kids, including his own bastard son, who ended up not being his son. But spoiler alert.
Awkward.
But, he was honorable. He taught his kids to be strong, to believe in family. And, he died a gruesome death for standing by what he believed in. So, and then his head ended up on a stake.
I was going to say, he made it
through
what, a whole one season?
Yeah, I don't think he got all the way to the end of the first season. Whatever, he was a good dad.
Really reaching for that pick.
Ned Stark.
Really
hey, you know what? His kids ended up being the heroes of that story, so whatever.
Yeah, well, he didn't, though. So, but you know who was a hero of their story in a sense? Speaking of recent TV shows.
Who's that?
Jim Hopper.
Jim.
Stranger Things.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
This guy.
The surrogate, like the adoptive dad.
This guy has 0 kids, not married, nothing. But he takes in this poor little girl that's fighting off
that can do telekinesis,
dimensional demons or whatever they are that she's fighting over here. And, he just takes her in as his own, raises her to be a normal human being, which, that's pretty solid. However, he does kind of struggle a little bit because she keeps getting into these little fiascos. Sure. I get it. It makes great TV. Doesn't make you such a great parent. Yes, that's why he's number 4 on my list.
And then he's locked in Russia for years on end.
But he's a pretty solid guy. And yeah, he is. And he still comes back to be a great dad.
Exactly. He's taking care of his kids.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah,
sorry.
Sorry. Hashtag spoiler. I've not seen it, so thanks. Next on my list is, I don't even know the character's name because really it's just Liam Neeson's. Liam Neeson's in The Taken.
That's because he's the same character in every single movie that he plays.
Liam Neeson's.
Oh, my kid gets kidnapped. Let me just go beat some ass.
Exactly. So Liam Neeson in Taken is Liam Neeson's. Excuse me. Thank you, Key and Peele. Liam Neeson's is obviously the next on my list because I will find you. I have a unique set of skills. I will kill you, or whatever in the world he says. I mean, he obviously gives
our
a shit about his family.
impersonations are on point, by the way.
They get worse and worse as we continue to do this. It might be the hoppy coffee.
Yeah,
but Liam Neeson obviously cares about his family, and he's going to take care of that daughter. And especially after the kidnapping, he's like, listen here, Hungarians or whoever it was that captured, who was
it? It is Eastern Europeans.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I will kill you.
Yeah.
Except he doesn't have an accent. Why did I give him an accent? What was next on your list?
Oh, no. That was good. That was good. Oh, man. Number 5, man. I had some good options here. But, I'm going to end it on a good note here. So the final pick for Team Chaney in the 2022 Fictional Dad Draft is Forrest Gump.
Oh, I gotta push back on that one.
Ooh, well, okay.
Picked a sketchy mom.
Well, first off, Forrest, who doesn't like Forrest? As a person, not talking about dad, just person, right?
All right, yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a feel-good character, right? But then too, old Jenny, she comes back into his life.
Miss Jenny.
And they have a kid that he doesn't know about, and then he finds out whenever he's probably 4 or 5, however old he is.
Sure.
And then he just takes him on as if, he'd been with him the whole time. And I'm like, you know what? That is the most Forrest thing you could ever do.
You're right. I'll give you that one. That's a pretty good one. My final...
It was between Forrest and Walter White.
Okay, so that's...
I went both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, I think Forrest is the right answer in that one. That's funny because I had 2 at the end of mine. The runner-up for my list was Uncle Phil. Again, talking about adoptive dads.
Oh,
Uncle Phil was a really good dad, just like on and off.
His adopted son just got in a little bit of trouble for abusing people.
Just slapping people and whatever. It's a real problem. But I think number 5 on my list is Adam Sandler and Big Daddy.
Oh,
Because while he
how
might
did I
not
not
be
think that's a really good
on
one.
paper, he might not be the best dad, but as the kid or as the child of that guy, how much fun would Adam Sandler be as your dad? And you get to pick whatever clothes you're going to wear, and you get to rename yourself and call yourself Frankenstein Applesauce or whatever he renamed himself to. So
Brian, that might be the steal of the draft right there.
Adam Sandler, round 5. Really got that one done.
Well
there.
done. Man, dang. Yeah. I had some other good ones, but they didn't make the cut.
I don't know.
Okay.
I saw that on social media, and I thought those kind of these like draft things are just hilarious.
They are.
And so I wanted to try and see if we could get that done with our show.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that are hilarious, I thought we can't do a holiday episode without exchanging gifts.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry,
So
didn't know where you were going with that.
Brian, I brought you a very much appreciated Christmas gift.
Well, you're a nice
So
guy. I got
let me
one
give
for
this to
you
you
under
real
the
quick.
table here too. So,
Here you go.
ooh, look at this nice festive box.
I made the box myself, crafted
I don't believe you.
it.
So let's see what's up in this bad boy.
I think you'll love it.
It's a stud finder.
Yes.
Wait. How do I make it beep on
I
me?
mean, yeah.
It found a stud right here.
Oh,
buddy.
beep, 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 beep,
Yeah, I
beep.
found the stud.
Get
And
outta here.
the tall white socks, nice.
Yes.
And they say tough on them.
That's right.
Look at these tough
'Cause
white socks.
You're so tough.
Because I'm tough.
Yeah.
All those- oh baby, wait a minute. Oh, those are sick.
That's right.
Look at these shorts.
There's so many.
Gray cargo shorts.
There's so many
They're
pockets.
The daddest of dad shorts with so many pockets.
You can put so many
so much
stud
room
finders
for
in there.
activities in here. That's awesome. Well, see, mine was just one thing because I know that I only have the one kid. This is great. Thank you
Yeah.
for
well,
one.
I thought you could really use it.
I think the stud finder needs like a.
Ooh.
I think it needs a place of honor on the wall.
It does.
Next to the booby mug.
The Wall of Fame.
The Wall of Fame next to the booby mug.
Dad
here.
Wall of Fame.
So my thought was, this is really great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
buddy. I appreciate you.
Happy to help.
I was thinking, since I've just got the one kid and I have a hard enough time with just the one, you've got two of them, so you need something that you could use. Do your kids have like their own cups that they drink out of? Or
yeah.
This is Liam's cup and this is Brody's cup or something like
well,
that?
Liam's favorite color is blue, so any cup he drinks out of has to be blue.
Understood. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got Liam's cup, and do they have like? Have you talked to them about Daddy's milk or Daddy's juice yet? So I got you some Daddy's juice, and I labeled it on the front as Dad's juice.
Daddy's juice.
I figured you could use some whiskey since you've got multiple kids to take care of. You needed some dad juice to take care of, but we wrote dad juice on the front of there because it's only fair.
That'll definitely help me sleep tonight. Don't you worry.
Hey, you know what?
Got some nice whistle piggyback.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Merry
it, buddy.
Christmas, big boy.
Merry Christmas. But
what about dad jokes?
That is great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I like
awesome.
the piggyback. That's good stuff. I like the rye.
That is.
Do you like rye? I like rye whiskey.
I do.
think it's just
I do.
diff-
And honestly,
just different enough.
I really like piggyback too. So
Perfect.
That works out really well. Or
So-
whistle pig, I guess I should say.
Yeah, whistle pig.
Yeah.
So tell me about dad jokes. Let's wrap this thing up. We're getting close on time.
Yep. Well, that's how we got into this situation, by not wrapping it up. That is not my dad
That is
joke,
your
by
dad
the way.
joke. Holy shit, that was perfect, Derek. That was so good. Well done, buddy.
Well, no, our dad jokes this week has to be festive and holiday related, right?
So, little inside baseball here. We both got here and we both looked at our sweaters and the decorations around here and went, oh shit, my dad joke doesn't have anything to do with the holidays.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Fail.
What kind of dad joke did you think up?
Well, Bryant, being festive, and the North Pole is such nice weather this time of year. So, how many gardens does Santa prepare a year?
Gardens does Santa prepare? I don't think he prepares any gardens. What's the answer?
You are wrong. He prepares 3 so that he can ho, ho, ho.
God dang it, that's so stupid. I love it so much. That's so dumb. I love it.
Oh, I thought it was pretty solid.
That's perfect. Well, I was thinking like holidays. Normally there's snow on the ground. And
depends where you're at.
yeah, no kidding. Well, we're in the Midwest, so there's snow on the ground. last year we went over to the Olsons and we were rolling around making snowmen and stuff in their front yard. And it got me thinking about snowmen and what snowmen eat for breakfast. Do you know what they have for breakfast?
I'm sure it's pretty healthy, right?
It's Ice Krispies. It's Ice Krispies.
Ice Krispies.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Dad jokes are so stupid. They're my favorite thing in the whole world.
No, that was my bad. It took me a second for it to click. And I got it.
What kind of adult eats, or what kind of person eats Rice Krispies? Forget the ice side of things. For breakfast. Me.
I was obviously. Like, I do.
Yeah,
don't judge me.
Well, buddy, so let's talk about our friends and folks that are watching the episode for a second, because we talked about this ahead of time. We wanted to kind of say thank you to all of our viewers out there.
Absolutely.
We have
very much so
received so much great feedback from our friends and viewers and family and everybody who's been watching it. I just wanted to go over very quickly to like some of our analytics and stuff. I mean, just in the couple weeks that our podcast has been live, between shorts and little minute-long content videos and our full-blown episodes, we've got over 5,000 views. And between YouTube and Spotify and Facebook, social media, we have several hundred people. I think YouTube has like 56 subscribers, and our Spotify has several rates and reviews and a couple hundred listens. We just want to say thank you. Everybody's really thankful around the holidays, depending on which holiday you're talking about. We just want to say thank you to everybody out there who's been watching, and hopefully you're enjoying what we're doing here. Please give us feedback. Let us know whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you think, and tell us about your dad situations. We've already received a couple of funny things from friends and family that we want to talk about in the future, where we want to have like a Dear Decent Dads, a triple D, something like that, where it's just like we can read some of your stories and kind of react to them and have conversations about them, because we've already got a couple of them in the wings, don't we?
We do, yeah. And that was the whole point of doing this podcast, is to reach out to other dads, and build that community. Exactly. And it's great because we're already getting feedback on that. We're already getting dads reaching out to us saying, you know what, we listened to this episode and it made us think of this story with our kid whenever they were X years old. And some of these stories that people have been sharing with us are freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I cannot wait to share it with you guys too, because they are really funny.
So share with us, your great dad stories. We would absolutely love to hear about those.
Yeah, and if you are local and feel like coming to hang out and having a couple of hoppy coffees with us, and talking about your stories, please hit us up. Let us know.
Yep.
So without further ado, let's wrap this thing up. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and do all that social media channel stuff. Way to go, Decent Dad.
Way to go.
Happy holidays, buddy.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. You too.
See you, everybody.
Did you get bullied as a child?
No. Well, maybe.
No, I had a beard at 4 years old. Of course I didn't get bullied.
My beard didn't come until I was 25.